Good morning, student. Today we will discuss another way of gene silencing, that is post-transcriptional gene silencing, the method named as microRNA. So what is miRNA or microRNA? Let us discuss first that thing, then the mechanism of gene silencing, and after that we will discuss biogenesis of this miRNA. Introduction. Matured microRNAs are also named as miRNAs, are a class of naturally occurring small non-coding RNA molecules about 21 to 25 nucleotides in length. So point to be noted here, naturally occurring RNA these are. It's not like that the other SI, every time the comparison with SI will come here. It is not something like that due to viral infection or transposon or transgene. It is a naturally occurring small RNA molecule. MicroRNA are partially complementary to one or more messenger RNA molecules, and their main function is to downregulate gene expression in a variety of manners, including translational repression, mRNA cleavage, and deadenylation. Point to be noted here, microRNA are partially complementary. This kind of, that means we don't need a complete complementary sequence in order to downregulate the expression, the mRNA. And when I'm talking about the down regulation, we are not only talking about the what is that called, degradation, what we discussed in my last lecture, but here we are mentioning some of the other means of down regulation, that is maybe translational, maybe stability, maybe deadenylation. They are first described in 1993 by Lee and colleagues, and the term microRNA was coined in 2001. Thousands of microRNAs have since been identified in various organisms through random cloning and sequencing or computational prediction. Now, there is an MIR base hosted by the Sanger Institute provides miRNA nomenclature, sequence data, annotation, and target prediction information. So there's a database also there. With the help of this database, you can search, you can predict a new miRNA if somebody identified, that can be submitted there. Now, what another point? Try to remember this thing, that is, it is a naturally occurring. It's when we are talking about miRNA, we are not talking about the complete sequence similarity, but when we spoke about SI, you remember that it has to be designed, it has to has a sequence similarity from the exonic sequence, which gene we are going to silence, that double-stranded RNA which you are using, or it's a viral infection or it is a transposon, that should have a homology from the exonic sequence. But here it is partially complementary also will work. And the down regulation, earlier cases we have shown there's a degradation, there may be other, but here other type of down regulation can also be happen here. So now another thing, microRNAs, another class of small RNA called microRNA. So some other information participate in gene silencing. So we are discussing last 3 classes gene post transcriptional gene silencing. So this is another way of gene silencing. They are 22 to 23 nucleotides RNA produced naturally in plant and animal cells by cleavage from a larger stem loop precursor RNA. We will see how from a precursor RNA which is a stem and having a stem and loop structure, how with the help of some nuclease it's chopped out and this miRNA actually form. In animals, these miRNA base pair with the 3' untranslated region of specific mRNA and silence gene expression by blocking translation. Remember, the down regulation process in plant and in animals are different. In animals, what is happening, generally it down regulates is translation. So maybe at the initiation step or in the elongation step, it inhibits the translation. But in plants, this miRNA base pair, even though there are partial sequence homology, but still it base pair with the interior of mRNA and direct the cleavage of those mRNA. Now, the three important distinction between the action of siRNAs and miRNAs. Remember, this is examiner's favorite question. So, difference and similarities between si and miRNA. So, already I started by saying this thing. The siRNA silence gene, both are actually working for post-transcriptional gene silencing. Now, see the different mode of action. The siRNA silence gene by inducing degradation of the target mRNA. So the mode of action is degradation if it is si, while the mi tends to silence gene by interfering with accumulation of the protein products of the target mRNA. That means I mentioned here the translation, down regulation of translation, that is particular in animals, but for plant you can say that also degrade the mRNA. However, if base pairing between an animal miRNA and its target RNA is perfect or near perfect, the miRNA can causes cleavage of the target mRNA. So degradation of the RNA by sequence similarity, that is not so important thing here. Down regulation of its protein synthesis process, that means translation, is the one major mode of action. Second point, the siRNAs are formed by dicer action on double-stranded RNA that usually contain at least one strand that is foreign to the cell or derived from transposons or viral infection. On the other hand, miRNAs are formed by dicer action on the double-stranded part of a stem loop RNA that is a normal cellular product. So first thing you need to remember, the miRNA which is generating from it's body's own thing. So actually I want to show you one diagram. I missed it. Let me show you this diagram, then it will be clear for you. What I am showing here, this is a DNA. This is its unwinding, and let's see this part of the DNA, typical gene is there, the green shaded. So what we expect, the gene will be transcribed to mRNA, and from the mRNA we are going to get this protein. So this is transcription and this is translation. This is happening. This entire from the DNA, some part is coding, so some that from there the protein we are getting. But from the same DNA, some other part of the DNA, this part is transcribing. That means we are getting the RNA, but unfortunately that RNA cannot be translated. So that RNA binds to the messenger RNA if there is a sequence similarity. So the sequence similarity may not be 100%. Now what you see, this is from the same indigenous DNA we are getting this microRNA. So what we are telling, this process is microRNA formation. We will see how it is happening, but just see this process. MicroRNA is synthesized from the DNA only. Now from the DNA it is not translating, that means it's not giving you any protein. So what is happening? So this, if it has some sequence similarity with any part of other messenger RNA, they will come and bind. They may come and bind, and protein assembly is blocked. That means it hinders the translation. So this is the basic. So should have this concept that this is not a foreign molecule. This is an indigenous part of the gene where actually transcribed but unfortunately not translated. So that RNA, after some processing, not that big RNA, after some processing, the small 23 to 25 base pair of that molecule can come and bind to the other gene product, and then the mRNA, and can silence that function. So I was discussing the second one. So the second point was, it is indigenous, not like the siRNA, definitely a foreign one. The third point is siRNA's base pair perfectly with the target mRNA. Remember, because if you are designing an si, you are synthesizing and synthetically, then you have to design it from the exonic sequence, not the promoter sequence, neither the that intronic sequence. But here, so siRNA base pair perfectly with the target mRNA, whereas miRNAs usually base pair imperfectly with their target mRNA. So these are the three important points you need to remember when there is any comparison we are talking about si and miRNA. Now, the pathways to gene silencing by mRNA. Now, see how we have discussed, outlined that mRNA mediated gene silencing. So, let us see how actually it's happening. So, you have an idea from your own DNA. This part is transcribing, and you are getting a stem loop structure of RNA. Imagine this is a secondary structure of an RNA, okay? But this RNA will not going for any translation, so it doesn't code for any protein. Now, what is the fate of that RNA? Till 90s and 2000s, that era, we didn't even know these things are there. But now this can be a target of, when it comes out of the nucleus, it's target of dicer. We have already discussed the function of dicer. So dicer, it will cut it and will give you a small piece, and then what is the fate of that? You know, it produces a double strand. So this one strand will go and bind imperfect base pairing with the 3' UTRs of mRNA. It is predominantly in animal cells. What we will see, this is the mRNA cap structure, this is an mRNA structure, and the 3' untranslated region, it may be imperfectly base pair. So mRNA coming and binding here, and because of this binding, it inhibits its translation. This is the predominant mechanism which is present in animal cells. If you compare this thing with the plant cell, what is happening is the same thing. So it perfect or near perfect base pairing with the middle of mRNA, plant and certain examples in case of animals. So that leads the degradation of this mRNA. So there are two ways of gene silencing for miRNA. One is actually blocking the translation, another one is the degradation. Now, major hypothesis of miRNA action. So what are the ways it actually inhibits its action? So number one, blocking translation initiation, blocking translation elongation, degradation of mRNA. Now the question is that how do we reconcile all these ideas? That means at the same time one MI is functioning in different way. To date, there is clear evidence for multiple mechanisms even within the same organism. That's what a same MI can show: the translation inhibition, degradation, elongation step, initiation step. So different mechanisms are there. Is it possible that different MI act in different ways, or that the same MI can act in different ways depending on the cellular context? So we need more and more studies to understand this entire mechanism, but at least we know the mechanism of action, how it regulate the gene silencing, how actually it silence the gene. Now we will study the little bit of biogenesis of miRNA. So we started here by showing you that here had been loop structure. Now we will go what actually, from where this stem and loop structure, which is substrate of dicer, is generating. So initially I gave you an idea, from the DNA only we are getting this mRNA. Let us see. We know RNA polymerase 2 transcribe the miRNA precursor. That means that the normal transcription is happening. So RNA poly 2 transcribe the miRNA precursor. So we are talking about the precursor gene to produce primary RNA or pri-RNA. So from DNA, there is definitely a precursor gene of MI. From that gene we are getting a transcription. So we are getting a primary RNA. So that is we named as pri-RNA, which may encodes more than one mRNA, because it's a big mRNA is synthesizing. Okay, after transcription by RNA polymerase 2 from the precursor gene to produce primary RNA. So we are getting from the gene a primary RNA. Now processing a miRNA, that means pre-miRNA, meaning this is to a mature miRNA, is a two-step process. Now the first one is done by, this is happening inside the nucleus. A nuclear RNase 3, name is DROSA, with the help of RNA binding protein PASA, cleaves the primary miRNA to release 60 to 70 stem loop RNA. So this structure only you have shown this one, after the Drosophila, they cleaved the primary miRNA into a 70 to 60 nucleotide long stem and loop structure. That structure shown here. Now the actual process is from the gene, with the help of RNA polymerase II, you are getting a primary miRNA. So that is a substrate of a nuclease RNase 3, DROSA, cleaves the primary miRNA to release a 60 to 70 nucleotide stem and loop RNA, now called, this we will be knowing, we will be telling, this is pre-miRNA. This will come outside of the nucleus, cytoplasm. In the cytoplasm, Dicer cuts the pre-miRNA within the stem to release a mature double-stranded miRNA. Now see this diagram, what I wanted to mention. This is nucleus, this is cytoplasm. So this is what you are getting from your gene. This the cap, and there's a big hairpin structure, and there's a poly A tail. But this mRNA is not coding for any protein, so that there is no translation. So what will happen? So there is a nuclear RNase 3, nuclear RNase 3 like a protein, DROSA. This orange color one will come and bind, and the blue color protein is DGCR8 or PASHA. This is our RNA binding protein. With the help of this, DROSA will cleave this stem loop structure. Now you are getting, this is what we call pre-miRNA. That this process is also named as microprocessor. So what we are getting, a stem loop structure, pre-miRNA, that comes outside the nucleus, and now this is the target of Dicer. With the help of Dicer, you now know it will give you 23 to 25 nucleotide double-stranded RNA that we referred miRNA. So don't get confused with SI and AMI. There are other way also you can generate miRNA. This is another example. We always say that there is no function of this intron. The introns are junk sequence, but there is an evidence that which we call midtron. It's an miRNA plus introns. So this is a classical thing. This is a blue color exon. Then this is another exon, yellow color. So what happened in splicing? The entire that line will get spliced out. So you can see this exons are joining, and the intron is getting out of this thing, and intron, you know, that form a branching structure. Now that branching structure can be this is a primary miRNA. So what we saw here, primary miRNA, that is there. Okay, so splicing is also taking place inside nucleus. After that, it will come outside of the nucleus, and then it will be a target for a Dicer. So that is also another way we can get miRNA. So hope you understood. Any confusion, please give me a call. Thank you very much.